know that since Texas imposed its near total abortion ban, maternal deaths in this state have surged by over 50%? That's not a prediction. It's a brutal reality happening right now. I'm Avery. Welcome to my channel where we break down hard to understand law and politics. This week, I joined Free and Just on the steps of the Texas Capitol in Austin. Free and Just is a movement that isn't content with passive solidarity or occasional election year rallies. Instead, they're amplifying stories from people living the consequences of abortion bans every single day. On June 24th, marking 3 years since the Supreme Court's decision in Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization overturned Roe versus Wade, we came together not only to protest, but to confront the consequences. Human beings like us reduced to political talking points. But to truly understand why this matters, we have to go back. In 1973, the Supreme Court decided Roe versus Wade, recognizing that pregnant people have a constitutional right to make decisions about their bodies without government interference. But on June 24, 2022, that legal foundation came crashing down. In Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization, the court erased 50 years of precedent, returning the power to restrict abortion to the states. In Texas, that meant the near total abortion ban triggered by SB 8, which had already outlawed procedures after about 6 weeks and allowed private citizens to sue providers. And once Dobbs was decided, trigger laws put nearly every abortion out of reach, even in cases of rape, incest, or immediate danger to the patient's life. The consequences of these decisions have been swift and devastating. Between 2019 and 2022, maternal mortality in Texas skyrocketed by 56%, while the national average crept up only by 11%. Meanwhile, infant deaths have climbed nearly 13% in Texas compared to under 2% nationwide. Nearly half the counties in our state, 46%, have vanished maternity care services, turning local obstetrics into distant luxuries. And the demand for out-of-state abortion care? In 2023 alone, more than 35,000 Texans traveled hundreds of miles for care they once accessed in minutes. But these aren't just statistics, they're lives. At the press conference, I met Jessica, a working mom in Texas.
And who am I here with today?
Hi, my name is Jessica, and I'm a mom here in Texas.
What are you advocating for?
The recent legislative session here in Texas was especially cruel. I was able to give testimony against HB 5510, which died in the House, which we're very grateful for. It was a bill, a bounty hunter bill, an anti-abortion medication being sent into Texas bill. It inspired me to come out and speak more. And so I came out here today as a mom in Texas.
Thank you so much for sharing your story, Jessica, and hopefully we can build a better future for the next generation of Texans.
Thank you.
Then there was Sarah Harrison, a professional researcher on war and conflict, and more importantly, a mom.
Hi, Sarah. Thanks so much for spending time with us today and sharing your story. Who are you and what do you do?
Well, I'm a lawyer and a researcher, and I live in Central Texas.
What do you research?
I research war and conflict.
Wow. How did you come to this advocacy space? Do you have a personal story that brings you here today?
I have a 14-month-old son, and when I was pregnant with him, I was actually pregnant with twins. Because I live in the state of Texas, when I found out that one of the twins had a fatal anomaly, I wasn't able to get care to get a reduction here. I had to leave the state, and that felt very dystopian to me and to my husband, and was quite scary to go through. And we were very frustrated, the fact that we couldn't get healthcare we needed here, that we would have been able to get here had there not been laws passed by Republicans in Texas to ban abortion.
The voices behind the podium in Austin were just as powerful. Senator Sarah Eckhart, whose words leapt from the footage I captured, "This is state-sanctioned harm, not policy." She was calling lawmakers to account, demanding they stop hiding behind ideology and look at what's unfolding in hospitals and homes across Texas. Then there is Mayor Pro Tem Vanessa Fuentes.
Who am I here with today?
Vanessa Fuentes, Austin's Mayor Pro Tem. So we're here at the Texas Capitol in our capital city of Austin, and we are recognizing that it's been 3 years since the dismantling of Roe v. Wade, which basically is a fundamental reproductive right that we have as women in our state that has been taken away from us. And so we're recognizing it's been 3 years. What is the state of healthcare in Texas? I mean, for me, it's very simple. Reproductive rights are human rights. And I truly believe that. And in fact, it was this Capitol building in which Wendy Davis did her filibuster back in 2013 on reproductive rights. And I was a staffer. I was here. I saw what happens when we all come together and we make our voice heard. And so now as a local policy policymaker who has brought forward policies to help Austinites that have been undone by these people back here, it's personal.
This work matters because these laws are multiplying. Across the country, IVF faces threats, contraceptives are caught in crossfire, miscarriage care is being withheld, and clinic closures in Texas are becoming care deserts as doctors leave or are forced out. Free and Just understands that storytelling is resistance. They don't just post statistics, they elevate voices that demand lawmakers to take responsibility, to legislate with the full scope of human impact in mind. The legal fallout is ongoing and chilling. Texas has refused to investigate maternal deaths related to abortions since Dobbs. Officials are suppressing data, hiding what they're calling the bodies. Meanwhile, providers hesitate, even when faced with ectopic pregnancies or miscarriages, because one misstep could land them in jail. And patients remain fearful. 72% of Americans, including a majority of Texans, say pregnant people shouldn't be prosecuted. 66% believe doctors shouldn't be criminalized. This isn't fringe sentiment, it's national consensus. With every ban that's dropped, there are lives, real lives, hanging in the balance. Sarah, Jessica, Jocelyn are living proof, and there is power in our choices. If you're watching this, you can help change the story. Share your story, support Free and Just and abortion funds that exist to fill the cracks these bans created. Call your legislature and insist on full investigations, patient protections, and emergency care guarantees. Vote every election, especially local ones, because reproductive freedom is decided in state houses and town halls. So yeah, this week is heavy, but it was also really hopeful. Hearing from Sarah, Jocelyn, Jessica, and so many others reminded me why we keep doing this work. Because the people most impacted by these laws are the ones leading the fight to change them.